So welcome to our last module, module 5. Is there anything before we go into today's teaching content that you would like to address or ask or talk about? Yes, of course, Kimberly.
Of course. Well, so I've been doing a lot of the practice workshops, and I had a question about a constellation that came up. The client said that that both her mother and grandmother had lived loveless marriages, and that she found herself in a loveless marriage. And so she wanted to constellate that. And so I had her choose somebody to represent her and somebody to choose for her husband and sort of see what happened. And, it started out where they weren't looking at each other and they weren't, really communicating, but then they saw each other and they, it took a little bit of time, but they did want to be together. And they ended up, using yes statements, all the yes statements. And then we called, we had their children come up too, and it really came up that he wasn't feeling like he was needed, that like no, the kids didn't need him. They just, it was just the mom and the kids. He was feeling kind of left out. And so we, I guess, corrected that. We brought, awareness to that. My question is I didn't feel the need to call in her mother and grandmother because the couple was able to work it out. Should I have called them in?
No.
Okay, good. I was like, I just didn't feel like it was
Why would
necessary.
you? Just because the client mentioned that?
Right, but it didn't show up that I needed to.
Remember, we are not going with what the client says. We are going with the morphogenetic field, and we always try to find the most efficient, short way to get a movement of the souls towards unity. And if you have that, then that's it. You're done. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's sure.
Look, if it would be important, then there would be another occasion when this person would constellate, and then their ancestors would come up. If it's not like there's nothing lost. But when you found a solution, or when the client is released, that's when we are seeing movements. That's all we really want. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Very
Thank
good. You. Awesome. So if there's nothing else, I am going to share my slides with you.
My Wi-Fi is a little spotty today, so if I knock out and knock back in, my apologies.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I saw you got a bit fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I thought it was me. I was like, is that me again?
All me today. All me.
Right. So here we are. Module 5 is titled Essential Healing. And we are kind of wrapping everything up. What we are mainly focusing up is on one-on-one session, how to deal with one-on-one clients. And we will also have a closer look to systemic coaching and facilitating organization constellation. So today we are going through designing a one-on-one session. How do we set it all up to work with family constellation and one client only? And especially, I show you how I use the figurines. That is my preferred method to work with clients one-on-one. And tomorrow we are talking about what is an internal constellation. We are going more into depth into organization constellation and how to use other tools than figurines. So we asked our question, why provide a one-on-one session anyhow? Because remember, Bert Hellinger didn't do that. He had only group sessions. He might have seen private clients very occasionally in certain circumstances, but that was behind closed doors. We have no idea what they do or did there. And he certainly never introduced that to us, nor was it part of our course. I have learned that from another wonderful facilitator, how to do that. and we will talk about why we would even kind of divert a little bit from Bert Hellinger's original teaching here. Then we go through the pros and cons of one-on-one sessions and how to set up the room and what props you would need. And we will also look at how to design a one-on-one session and how to market it. And that would be an exercise for you guys. And then afterwards, we are looking at the use of the figurine and other objects as representatives in a one-on-one situation. And I will demonstrate that to you, and we will have a training session with that, so you can actually see how that looks like if you haven't seen it before. So why a one-on-one session, despite the fact that Bert Hellinger didn't provide that in his trainings? I think it is really the best way to start using family constellation to support friends, family, and clients. It's so much harder to get a group together, so much more to worry about with a group setting. It's so much easier to just grab your best friend and say, let's have a session and let me practice with you. Yeah. So you can apply all the knowledge you have gained, or the information you have about, words, gestures, dynamics, all of that wonderfully when you work in one-on-one sessions. Two ways: you either use objects or you do it internally. So I will show you how that goes. The other pro is, or the why it is so, I think, important to practice one-on-one sessions is that they can be integrated immediately into your professional work, right? If you already have clients and you work with other healing modalities, then you can just pull out a figurine board and say, okay, let's look at whatever your issue, just place the figurines, and they don't even need to know that it's a family constellation. And then, they can show you how that looks like, and you see immediately with the knowledge about the orders of love where the imbalance is, what's missing, where's the love of flow not present, or where needs to be more honor and respect shown. And you have all this visuals already in front of you without your client even knowing that you're working with the system, with the family system. And then you can start a little bit applying what is needed, and you're in the middle of a family constellation, right? So that is a really easy way to do that. You can also, if you have a client and they are conveying their issue to you, you can also say to them, hang on, I need to visualize that better. Can you just show me that on the figurine, right? So they still think they're in their head, trying to explain something to you what's in their head, but as you know, the field takes over, and the figurines they will place will show a different picture, guarantee you that. Yeah. And then what is actually going on the soul level as opposed to what the client is talking and concerned about. It's also a great introduction into family constellation when you have existing clients, or you want to introduce it to your friends and family members, to have a nice conversation, maybe with a cuppa even, and then you can pull out the board and say, look, it's so difficult to explain, I just show it to you, right? And that's also very, very nice. And the biggest probably is why we want to provide a one-on-one session is because some people just simply don't want to join a workshop. They are just, I don't know, they are shy, I don't know what's going on, but they find, more comfort in seeing somebody privately. So I think that's also a way to spread or apply the healing modalities of family constellation to a wider population by providing this kind of service. Otherwise, they would be left out because they would never come to a workshop. So the pros that I can see of working in a one-on-one situation is, first of all, you can focus on the individual. You don't have the group. You don't have the group to worry about. The group is not, any kind of concern. There's only your client. You can completely focus on your client, and you won't be distracted by anything else. So this is definitely a pro. Yeah. You sometimes have the chance to work on more than one issue if you still have time. There's nothing wrong with this, to fill in the time with your client with something else. It doesn't need to be a full-fledged a constellation. We will go through other little practices that you can add to your toolkit tomorrow. So there are other things. So you can really spend the time with this client and not, you know, like in a workshop setting where you have a constellation, it's either short or either long, whatever it is, and the client sits back and you have another one, right? So that's another pro. Some people are open up better when they are alone with you. They are not they're not comfortable talking about their issues in a group setting. That's fine. As you know, they don't necessarily need to talk, but they think they need to talk. So that's not like we don't need them to talk a lot, but they think they need to talk about it, and therefore they shy away from doing that in a workshop setting. And when you, even if you would tell them, you don't even need to talk about your issue, they don't believe you. You know, it's like they cannot fathom that. That's kind of weird. So so they think, okay, in the workshop I have to talk about, and I really don't want that. So I'm more an introvert, right? I don't want to talk about things in a group. So that if you provide a one-on-one session, great, you can see them anyhow. Another pro is that you are flexible with the appointments with your clients. You might find that some people can never show up to a workshop because they're always working on that day, or they have small children, they can never leave them for a day. There are so many reasons why, although a lot of people are interested in your workshop, you end up with a small handful of people because the rest is simply not available. So that makes it then a big plus if you provide one-on-one sessions where you can make individual appointments and they can see you. If it's not for a whole workshop, then it is for the hour you spend together. As I said before, it's so easy to integrate in existing coaching sessions, so that would be a shame not to use it now that you know how to facilitate family constellations. You can combine it with absolutely everything. I used to combine it with essential oils. Some combine it with massages, others with Reiki or other kind of, and I'm sure, Kimberly, you're going to combine that with your astrology readings somehow, which that is great. But please be aware, combining is not mixing it up, yeah? So you don't want to take one skill and the other skill, one skill that you have and the skill of family constellation, and mush it up like in a mixer. You have combining means you do your thing and then you add family constellation, or you do a family constellation and then you add your thing. And you can take information from one thing to the other, but you do not want to combine it. Yeah. Well, that's my opinion, of course. I mean, you do what you want. Kimberly, you're muted.
I wouldn't want to combine it because it's like the astrology, it's there's not time. There's too much. Like we would have to do it a different day. I wouldn't even want to do it at the same time. Yeah. So that makes sense.
You could see something in the chart and then say, that would be actually interesting to look at it with family constellation.
Yeah, no, that's, I've been seeing it and referring them to other people to constellate it. So I'll just
fantastic.
Be able to come back and we'll fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Suman? How would you combine it with your practice?
I was just thinking about that. I think it would have to be something very separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great. So yeah, I totally agree. It is best to not combine it, but you can, right? If you are aware that you're not mixing it up and making a kind of a gray, meshy thing out of it. That's neither the one nor the other thing. And of course, a big pro is in one-on-one sessions is client confidentiality. And people are seeking that, especially in small towns, maybe. However, of course, in a workshop setting, there's also confidentiality required from all participants. That goes without saying, that you would instruct everyone who comes to a workshop that all the information they have here, they are not talking about, not with mentioning any names, of course. Or you can also, in a workshop setting, ask the people your participants to choose fake names, because it really doesn't matter what name they use. You can make it a game, you can make it an entrance game, and before they introduce themselves, you can say, okay, here's a draw with famous names, like, you just draw a name and stick it on your shirt, and then that's how we call you. So there are so many ways that you can make a workshop also quite confidential. So that's not the biggest, but I think from the perspective of the client, they might feel that client confidentiality is more looked after in a one-on-one session than in a workshop session. So the cons of working one-on-one are a very real one: the danger of talking instead of working with the fear. Be aware that this is happening easily because you're focusing on the individual. He has you for whatever this hour booked, no? And now your client really wants to talk from his heart and wants to talk about everything they have hold back, and they also think that's important for the work anyhow. So if you are not aware of it and you let yourself be guided by your client, you come from one thing to the other, and all of a sudden you spend half an hour talking. Yeah, that won't happen in a workshop setting because there's the pressure of the group not to waste time. That's not a thing in a workshop. That is a real danger in a one-on-one situation, that you're ending up not actually working with the field, but doing kind of like how do you say, a talking therapy or something like that. Yeah. And that you might talk about the issue and talk about the orders of love and talk about all of that instead of actually facilitating a constellation. Be aware of that. You have no other help as representatives. So nobody's resonating for the family members. And of course, that is quite awkward at the beginning, because this is where we work with, right? We are channeling, if you will, we are translating the information of the morphogenetic field through our representatives who are resonating with the field. And now we don't have them. Yeah. So there's a little bit more work involved from you and your client to replace that with other tools, which we will look at how it goes. It goes very well. There's absolutely no problem, but it is different, and it requires a little bit more, even more observation than you do anyhow, from your side, and work from your client, because the client is starting to represent everyone. It's not that you are starting to resonate with everyone, because you need to facilitate. You cannot do both. No. You cannot step out and observe and step in and resonate with one family member, okay, at the same time. Yeah. And so I recommend you stay in the role as a facilitator, observing, and you ask your client to represent every family member. Yeah. Because the client, as a client, has nothing to do in this, it's a passive role, being the client in a family constellation. So the client has actually the space and the resources to connect with the family members, rather than you, who has a job to do, facilitating. Yeah. You are in a one-on-one situation, susceptible to manipulations by the client. That is not particularly with family constellation. That goes in every one-on-one situation where you work with clients. Some are very cunning, unconsciously, some are consciously, but mostly subconsciously or unconsciously trying to steer you in a certain direction, to inquire into a certain direction, and without you giving your space to connect with the field, and maybe looking at something completely different, if that would be what the family system wants you to look at, right? So you need to be more strict with yourself and your client in a one-on-one situation, and that goes hand in hand with the talking, that you are kind of that you're not letting the lead go over the conversation, yeah, where you want that to go. And once you're in a family constellation, that you stay in there, and you're not starting to explain things while you are constellating. because that's the clients in a one-on-one situation they want. What does it mean, or what are you? Why do you do that? You know, this is coming. Just be aware that is a manipulation, and that gets your attention out of the work with the field and the family system to their needs. They want to know. They want to understand. That's their need. Yeah, they are just in a state of neediness. So you can address, if you want to, this later or at the next appointment or after the constellation, but not in the constellation. Yeah. Overstepping the time frame is a common thing, happens in one-on-one situation, maybe more than in a workshop where you have like the pressure of the group, other people want to constellate, and here you have one, and long constellations are not better. Yeah, I don't know whether you have experienced that with other constellations, but there's a clearly rule: if it, as long as it gets, as less powerful it is. Yeah. So you want really to find the issue as soon as possible and work on that very closely, and don't divert into too many branches of the family, and you know, and mix up issues, and then coming like all of a sudden you're ending up 1.5 hours with the client, right? And that's definitely a long session. It's probably too long even. Yeah, to keep the energy high anyhow. The cons are you have no group support. So it's not only that you don't have representatives, but you don't have the energy of the group. If you have a supportive group who is totally with you, it's kind of supporting you in your facilitating skills. You feel supported. You feel like carried by the group spirit, which you don't have in a one-on-one situation. So you need to hold your energy high on your own, despite any attempts to manipulate you or to talk you out of your observations of the field. You know, you always need to have your energy high. Remember the chart from Dr. David Hawkins, where we heal from is unconditional love and compassion, and that is, you know, more difficult to maintain in a one-on-one situation as in the group setting. Yeah. So this is about the energy level you want to hold high while you do the family constellation, not necessarily when you talk with your client or after the constellation is concluded, but definitely during the constellation. So you want to avoid to explain or talk with your client when you constellate for them. Any questions to that before we move on? You good? Okay. So the setup for one-on-one appointment starts with a sign-up form and a disclaimer. Of course, I don't give you a legal advice here in this course, so you have to check with your own national and local laws what you know what is required to make this watertight. It is just that you need somehow the agreement of your client that they come that they are responsible for their own health, physical and mentally health, and that you are not set out to change that in any way, shape, or form. It is also not recommended to you in some countries to use the word healing in relationship with family constellation, because for some weird reason, the non-healing industry has taken over this word and claims it almost exclusively, which is absolutely weird. However, you can always talk about wellness. No, there is no problem with the word wellness, happiness and freedom, understanding ancestors, releasing trauma or ancestral trauma. All these words you can use. Yeah, healing is just a little bit questionable in public if you get away with it or not. Depends really where you live. I mean, we in New Zealand, we are quite relaxed with that, but I have heard from people from North America that think that that is not the case, that you could be in trouble if you if the client expects healing from you, that has a different meaning than what we think it is. So that you want to make clear in your sign-up form and in your disclaimer that there's no misunderstanding, yeah, that the client is not giving their physical or emotional well-being into your hands when you work with them in a family constellation. Then the question is, do we set up a one-on-one situation? Like, do we sit on a couch, or like a psychotherapist? We have this picture, the client lies on a couch, the therapist sits on a chair at the head of the client, something like that. What do you think would be the best way to deal with in a family constellation, one-on-one situation? What do you have in mind? What do you think? What works for you? Yeah?
I like to do it at my desk, and I pull my chair so that I'm to the left of the client and sit next to them, and then they can just do it on my desk, put the little figurines.
So you would sit on the left side of your client, and you would facing the same side of the desk, looking at the figurines. That's yeah. And what do you think, Suman?
I don't know why I'm feeling like we should be sitting facing each other.
Mm-hmm. Good. And with the table and the figurines in between.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's basically the options, obviously. Yeah. So that's normally what you were thinking about. Just how, of course, we know that in a workshop setting the client sits to the right, but why is that? Is the facilitator and the client, we are looking in the same direction. Yeah, because the representatives are in front of us, and we get all the information from the representative. Yeah. Now, in the one-on-one situation, the client is representing every figurine. So you need permanently to look at the client. So you would always sit like this, and you can only see the profile of your client. That is very uncomfortable and probably not the best way to for you, for your health, for your neck, and probably also not very comfortable for the client. So I definitely prefer to sit across with a table in between. I can see the client, I can see the figurines in one, you know, and I don't need to change anything. I can see them both. And I never ever had the impression that the table is a barrier between me and my client at all, or that is something confrontational about it. The opposite is the case. I find the sitting at the same table is literally comforting for the client. But that is not only in family constellation. When I was working as a lawyer for a long time, I always had my client sitting at the other side of the table, and we had no fights or confrontations going on of felt opposing something opposing. So I don't think that's a thing. Yeah, but of course there's no strict rule. You find your own way to deal with it. Kimberly.
I get confused sitting across from them about positioning. You know, you're a yoga teacher, right? And
Yeah.
like when you teach yoga and you're doing your right side, you have to think to tell your class it's the left side because they're seeing you opposite. And so that's kind of how it is with how I think about it. If I'm sitting across from the client and they're putting the figurines, I mean, shouldn't I be
no, I see what you say.
perspective of how they're placing them so that I'm looking at what's their left and their right? Doesn't
No,
that
that is
matter?
not important, Kimberly, because
Okay.
when you think of left and right, you're looking at the figurine. It's always from the perspective of the figurine. Is this other figurine to the left or right of one figurine? You don't need to know if a figurine is on the left or right side of the board. You just need to know in relationship to the other, and that is defined by the way they look. So you can't be confused about that, because the figurines have a left and right shoulder as well, like a representative. It's the same situation.
So if they're looking opposite, so if one, let's say that the figurines are looking at each other.
Yeah.
And so we'll just call this figurine 1 and figurine 2, or look, this is where I get confused, and I'm probably overthinking it, but I don't understand the spatial. And I think it's because of doing it on Zoom, Whereas if we were in person, we could,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, like,
definitely do it in person. It's really
I
not
have
confusing. Yeah.
I have a hard time just understanding the left and right, because if I'm looking at it this way, then it's going to be left and right. But if I'm looking
No,
at it
the
the other,
figurine is always looking in one direction and has a right and left shoulder.
okay, so it's the way they're
So you
looking.
look at the figurine and then you look how the other figurine is related to that. Is it on the left or right side? You don't need to know anything else. You don't need
Okay.
to, you don't need to know in the room if it's on the left. In the room, you just need to know if it's far away or it's close by or it's across or things like that. But it does not, the left and right thing really only matters if they're relating to each other, the figurine or the representative. So you can always see that. And left and right also matters when somebody is reporting about a bodily, is resonating with their body and is reporting some discomfort in the left or right. And you know, it's maybe male or female energy, it's maybe maternal or paternal side. That's things that you get, but you don't need to have this. Not that I can think of. You don't need to have this 3D vision about is
Okay.
somebody on the left or right side of the room,
Okay.
So don't overcomplicate that. That's not that. You see, maybe you see it when we do it in a moment, a little constellation with the figurines that uh, it also depends on the figurines, of course, but it's normally not a problem. Okay. So you're sitting with your client, obviously. So the question is, what kind of chairs? Standing would be great, but you need to have a raised table for that, right? So if you have a standing table, great. I think standing is better than sitting. But when you are sitting, which most of us do, then don't want the client to be too comfortable. Yeah, they should not be too solid sitting. That makes them that doesn't get their subconscious mind moving around, right? So I have very positive experience with something like a yoga ball or a wobbly, a chair with has a round um, um, foundation, so it's obvious. So not too much. So just they need to engage their body to put their feet on the floor and keep the spine upright and engage their body to sit straight. Of course, not for 80 plus people, but for for the most majority of clients, I find that very helpful in my practice. I do that all the time, and it helps with also getting into alpha state, getting people into alpha state, getting people into regressions. Very helpful if they are either standing or sitting, but not comfortably. Yeah. You need a little bit of space to move around. It doesn't need to be a huge room, but you cannot just be in the smallest little size room where you only have a table and 2 chairs, really, because there can be a situation where you want to do a rebirthing with the client out of the constellation, and then at least they need to be able to lie down. You need to be able to lie down with them on the floor and things like that. There are other things we look tomorrow, floor anchors and little tools you can add to the one-on-one session that makes it more interesting, or that you can tackle an issue from a different side. So for all of this, you need a little bit of room, but not too much. So I think if you have a room of 10, 12 square meters, that would be absolutely sufficient for a one-on-one situation. You look at the surface for these examples that the client needs to go down on the floor. You need something soft there, so either rug or carpet, or you have enough blankets there or yoga mats or something that makes it possible for the client to lie on the floor. Therefore, you always have a bunch of cushions and blankets there. The cushions, again, they should hug the cushion. I wouldn't recommend that you, as a facilitator, step into the role of the mother for huggings. Yeah, let them hug a pillow, and you stay in the role as a facilitator. And that could also, you might feel uncomfortable when you have a male client. You don't want to do that. or you have a very tall client and she's so tall that you feel you cannot even, you don't feel like motherly energies towards her. So these are all situations where you want the client to hug, especially in an interrupted movement, towards the mother, a pillow rather than you. It can happen that you be guided. If you want to be the mother, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But Hellinger did that all the time. He said half of the time he was working in a workshop with people that he is representing the mother. That's fine. I just find it especially in one-on-one situations, not always comfortable. Kimberly, what's your question?
I have a client who lost her mom when she was 3 years old. And I mean, she doesn't, I feel like she needs a rebirthing because she just is so stuck in that, losing her mom that young.
Yeah.
But I mean, is that right that she would need a rebirthing, or would she need
Can't
something
say.
like as a
Can't tell.
3-year-old just
But
being
what
by
you
her
can
mom?
do is you start with we started in the one-on-one session and you see if there's an interrupted movement towards the mother, which is most likely. So the interrupted movement towards the mother she would definitely have when she was 3 years old. And you kind of go from there, from the youngest trauma to the oldest one. So you start there, and then you see when you have an interrupted movement with her done in a one-on-one session or in a group session, how is it then? Can you go further? Is there a further childhood trauma? Is there a birth trauma? So we go in childhood traumas rather from the most recent back, rather than from the oldest back forward. But you will be guided by the field anyhow. Whatever comes up is the right thing. So how do you know they need a rebirthing or interrupted movement towards the mother constellation? What do you think? What is the sign?
Well, I just watched the video of Bert in Taiwan. I don't know if you know that one, when the Taiwanese people, and he did the rebirthing. And I know it started out where he just put his arm around her,
Yep.
and she just was very uncomfortable, like couldn't handle having the
Exactly.
arm.
That's how you know. That's how you know you need a rebirthing. So you can, if you don't want to put your hands on somebody, you can also look at the figurine board and see if there is a interrupted movement with the distance, the typical signs of the distance between child and mother and all of this, and also find out if the mother has herself an interrupted movement towards her child, right? So you do the classical job first. Yeah, and when you have been through that and that has shown effects and that seems to have been healed, yeah, then you can definitely look at a rebirthing. It never hurts to do a rebirthing. You can do it multiple times. You always feel better afterwards. Oh, your clients, I have to say. So that's not the issue, right? Yeah. But the sign for a rebirthing, that you need a rebirthing, is that you are fighting. If you are hold tight, then you are fighting that. That's the sign that you need a rebirthing. And in this moment, you are already in the middle of it. Anyhow, I'm not sure if I know this video. Would you like to share that on our community group?
I wouldn't know how to, Maya. I'm not
You
really
just copy
tech
it.
savvy enough,
You just
but
copy the link. It's a YouTube video, isn't it?
yeah, but I don't even know. I could try. I haven't really been on the community thing. I had troubles getting on, but it is just a YouTube. I just YouTubed Bert Hellinger and he came up. And there's like 3 parts to it. It's very
In
interesting. You
Taiwan.
have to be very, very patient though, because they say everything in Taiwanese and then they go back to English and then Taiwanese. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's
Okay.
interesting to watch.
Good. Okay. Then you also need tissues. Of course, there's a lot of crying going on. So don't forget the tissues and a bin for the used tissues. So these little things make a difference. If everything is set up right, then you feel good about it and your client feel comfortable about it, because it's not awkward. You don't say, oh, I have to get up, I have to fetch things, and because they're in the middle of a release. So they draw the comfort out of your confident that you have it all under control. Yeah. So then they can open up. Here's my sign up form and disclaimer. Very basic because we don't need much in New Zealand. To make it watertight, it's basically the name, the date of birth, the phone address, and email. And then they sign that I state that the above information are true and correct. I'm aware that I'm solely responsible for my own health, safety, and well-being during and after the session. That's important. Yeah. I hereby agree to hold the facilitator, host, organizer, and or other second or third parties involved, not responsible for any physical or emotional distress or injury that may be sustained during or as a result of the consultation. Yeah, so that's very basic. So that would be all we need here, if we would need it anyhow. So you check in your own country with your laws and your lawyers what you need. If you need something, what you need. The same goes for insurance. I'm not aware that you can insure a not government approved, what can I say, practice, like family constellation facilitating, but you might can. I mean, I don't know. Everything is possible if you think it's necessary. Right? That depends on the risks, of course, that you need to suss out how high they are. So back to the setup, we need water. Always stay hydrated. Not only your client, yourself. You have to stay hydrated. It is so important that your body is always in the, the water is resonating basically the water that we are is resonating. Like this is the resonance body. So we do need to stay hydrated. No, not only that we don't have headaches and that we feel alert and awake and present, but it's also important that the body is able to resonate with the magnetic field. So as a client, so they should be hydrated too. So water and fresh glasses should always be provided. You can provide other things, essential oil diffusers, my preferred method to make an atmosphere in the room that is suitable for the practice I'm about to do. Mainly, I'm looking after something relaxing like lavender and stuff, not too much invigorating, but it could be different with a different client. Think about access to the toilet, especially if you work from home. You have a room from home, and you think, they only come for an hour. They don't need to go to the toilet, but 50% of the clients that come, it's the first thing they need. They need to go to the toilet because they are so under tension before they come, because they are all tense because of the issue they're carrying and not knowing how that's gonna be seeing you and what's happening, and then they see you and they feel so good that they're releasing, they're relaxing, and then they need to go to the toilet first thing. So if you're at home and you don't want your clients to go to your private areas, to your bathroom, you need to find a solution for that. So think about that before it happens. It can be a bit upsetting otherwise. You need to check your health and safety rules and regulations in your area, of course. Yeah. If there's anything you need to do, if you set up a room for your practice, then do it. Yeah. Better safe than sorry. You might need a fire alarm, or you might need an emergency exit door plate or whatever. Yeah, I don't know, but you need to check that if you need anything to set up in the room. Okay, so that was about the room for your one-on-one sessions. Now we look at how we design a session, because we are not winging it, right? We want to have a structure. We want to have a structure that keeps, that you have thought about that keeps you in the lead, that you have thought about it, how you want to do your session with your client, and then that is like a red thread that you're following, that you're keeping. Yeah. And that makes your client also relaxed and confident, because they trust you that you have it under control, that you know what you're doing. Yeah, that's important, because the client needs to relax especially when you want to work with them, resonating with figurines, with the morphogenetic field, going in alpha state, looking at childhood traumas or something like this. They need to be relaxed. Yeah? They cannot be under tension and stress because they think what's going on here, what's happening here. You know, they need to know, aha, you have it under control. So you think about all these little things before you design your one-on-one session, and then you stick to it. So first of all, you think about the right time frame. How much time do you want to spend with your client? So I would say 30 minutes is a stretch. That you might do that when you're very, very experienced. Also 45 minutes is probably a little bit not enough, but an hour, I think, would be about the right time frame. And max, I would say 1.5 hours. I cannot see why anything needs to be longer in any situation, right? When you work with a client. Maybe an hour, 15 minutes would be good to start with when you're unsure. The first few minutes is the intro. If you have a client who doesn't know anything about family constellation, the intro can be up to 15 minutes because you might want to talk about family constellation, about Bert Hellinger, about your own journey, about your qualifications. You know, that might take 15 minutes, yeah? So just to introduce them. And that's not even talking about the client's issue. That's just introducing into your service and what you do. This is why I like to give an hour to first comers, first newbies for the first visit, and then 45 minutes to every reoccurring visit, because I don't need to do that again. Then you have the main session, of course, where you do what you are guided to do. And then you have closing. The closing can be short. You don't want to overstretch the closing, right? Like you don't want to save too much time to fill in, then starting to talk about something you probably don't want necessarily talk about. Yeah. So make sure that the closing is not as long as the intro, for example. Then you want to think about, where are your strengths? You want to think about, are you a good communicator or are you not a good communicator? Yeah. When you're a good communicator, you want probably have a longer intro and you know, get your client excited about what's to come. If you're not such a good communicator, you may want to use a video to show to your client, or you want to demonstrate something on the figurine board rather than talking about it. So just think about where your strengths are. Yeah. Where do you feel comfortable? Where do you want to which place do you want to be in when you see your client? Where are you at your best? That's what you use. And it's all to make your client, to give them confidence that they came to the right place when they see you. Think about also your boundaries. How far do you want to go, right? Do you want to see male clients alone? For example, that is something you have to think about. You might don't want that, yeah. Or where are your boundaries? Do you want to talk about your personal journey or not? Maybe you don't. That's totally fine, yeah. Just think about that, and otherwise you say something and then you regret it, yeah. And you don't feel good about it, and then kind of the session becomes awkward, yeah. So that's really your personal twist. How do you want to present yourself as a consultant or facilitator or coach in this situation? Then of course you think about what props and tools to use and have them already, and they will be all there. They will be all looked after. They will be clean. They will be in order, and they will be not cluttered. It will be just what you need, not more. You make the client comfortable. That is the whole purpose of all of this, that they can relax, yeah? And you use your body language for it too. So you need to think about, how do you greet your client? Where do you go to the door, or do they come in and you sit at your table? How do you make them feel welcome, but not too friendly, like you're not meeting a new friend here, right? That you want the professional boundary with your client. So what is the body language to make the client comfortable? What do you think? What would you use?
Body language, Maya?
Mm-hmm.
Open and comfortable and relaxed, and
How would that look?
that you're like in your body, but you're also confident too. So that you have a place where they feel like they're coming to someone who is knowledgeable, but warm
Mm-hmm.
and
And how would you use your body to convey that?
I'm just thinking about how I greet most of my clients. It is
Mm-hmm.
facing forward, making sure that we're making eye contact.
Yeah, eye contact is important. Yeah.
Yeah, that my affect is matching, at least in a place of finding comfort in my affect,
Mm-hmm.
smiling.
Smiling, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And then of course you keep your, your front
Yeah.
open. You don't lean forward, you don't lean back. You kind of have a good solid stand if you're standing, and when you're sitting, you're not doing this, no? Or you're
Yeah.
not shrugging your shoulders, or you're not tilting your head neither to the side, yeah? Because that's kind of signaling insecurities. So smiling is definitely very important. And when you wear glasses, make sure that your glasses are not reflecting too much or having too thick frames so that your client cannot see your eyes really. That's also very important, I think. Clothing is of course important. Yeah, how you dress. You need to be comfortable. You need to be yourself. You don't want to be dressed up. You don't want to be dressed up as somebody else. Yeah, but it should be a little bit dialed down, I would say. So I probably wouldn't see a client in a red dress or something like that. No, it just doesn't feel right. But it doesn't need to be black or white neither, right? So your personality should always be there. Don't hide, you know. Remember the client is with you and not with somebody else for a reason. And that has to do with your personality. So don't hide that and don't try to be somebody else that you are not. You want to gain, you make your client comfortable by gaining their trust, yeah. So gaining their trust is also that you're not talking too much, that you let them talk. That is for most people more desirable than listening is talking. And of course, you can have your credentials there in the room. Put your certifications somewhere in the room where the client can see them. Without them too much in the face of the client. It's not the most important part, but it is one important part to gain trust. You can talk about your experience a little bit, but not too much. They don't want to have the impression you want to sell your service because they're already there. You have sold them already. Now all that counts is what happens in this session in terms of family constellation facilitating. Communication skills, making the client comfortable. I know you both work with clients, but most of my trainings not yet. And I always recommend also to make a course, just an online course, just a quick one. How to communicate properly with clients, because there is so much in our facial expression, the words we use, when and how we use them, together with body language, that makes it such a different experience for our communication partner. Yeah. You can use, when you design the session, tools. We talked about that, essential oil diffuser, candles, a salt lamp, something like that, to make the client comfortable. I just warn you, do not clutter your room and use it all. Yeah, I mean, just one thing is great, but not all of them. Yeah, and don't even if you love crystals, for example, and that's totally you. When you do family constellation, you don't need crystals, so put them somewhere in a display or so, out of out of your working space. That's family constellation, not anything else. Yeah, not reading tarot cards or using crystals or angel cards or whatnot. That has nothing to do with the work, and so we keep that aside, not to mix that up too much. And don't make your client too comfortable. You don't want them to fall asleep or slouch and indulge in their emotions or whatnot. Yeah, they should be always alert. Then you can guide them as well, and they will also be able to resonate with the field better. So this is why I don't like comfortable chairs, for example, for my client, because I think that's the most important part to keep them on their toes, is that they're not sitting comfortably. I'm not going that far that I would put spikes on the seat, right? Do you know this Shakti mat?
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. That would be probably a step too far, but you know, anything lesser than that is good. I think it's good.
They've got like little grooves, Kimberly. So like it's like a little spiky. It's good for pain. Like so people lay
Oh,
back.
I should get one of
Very
those.
spiky.
Yeah.
It's like from the yogis who are, on nail beds.
Mhm.
It's kind of reassembling the same. It's stimulating all the nerves, especially on your
Like
back and
vacuum
your
pressure.
neck. That would be
Yeah.
fantastic for your neck.
But I was just thinking I should do it for
Mhm.
my neck.
Would be fantastic for you. You should just lay on them, and it's the moment is like, "Ah," but then you don't move. You just lie. You don't move, and then it starts. Your body starts to relax.
It's all the adrenaline, right? To go to those places.
Yeah, it's like putting cayenne pepper on this, or something to draw the attention to
To it. Yeah.
it. Yeah, through the skin. Yeah. Okay, exercise. So I would like you to design a one-on-one session together. What you do is you have to create with Canva a brochure for your service, for your one-on-one service. You think about everything we talked about. First of all, of course, you think about how you offer the service, the duration, where, what you need for that, all that. And then you design a brochure, how you would convey that to your client. And you have to agree on something. So you find something that you both like. Yeah. Okay. Are you ready? And let's just give you 20 minutes to do that. Okay. And I will come in after 15 minutes and check in with you how far you are and how much more time you need, if you need more. Yeah. All good. Okay. Then I put you into a breakout room. Hang on. Let me just make sure you can share the screen. Here we go. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see if I
So
can find.
show me what you have done.
Oh, here we go. I don't know where the thing went, but here we go. Do you see it?
Yes.
Perfect.
Wonderful. So let me see. Can you scroll down? What's down there?
No, it doesn't let me scroll down. Let me see if I can do it.
Yeah.
It
Do you
says
see it?
one-on-one sessions.
60 minutes for $80, one-on-one session, right? That's what it
Yeah.
says.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go back to the view.
Oh, you can't see it?
No, to the full view.
I thought it was. I never know what Zoom's showing people. The funniest thing.
You had it
Okay.
before.
I gotta go back. There we go.
It must be, yeah, full view here.
Perfect.
Very good. Okay. Family constellation is a tool used to heal ancestral trauma that show up in our life as challenges in relationship, difficulties with success and with finances, illness, with depression, addiction, and overall unhappiness. Family constellation therapy to us aware the trauma began and how your fate is entangled with it. These entanglements, that's nice. These entanglements causes us to subconsciously continue to carry the traumas that belong to our ancestors. During the constellation, we are able to acknowledge and honor our ancestors in hand their fate back to them as we accept our own, freeing us for us to live a life of joy and happiness with the ability to write our own story. That's very nice. I love this text. Reveal hidden dynamics, remove blocks, and heal your family system. Very good. So let's go over the whole brochure. So the colors are lovely. I mean, purple is obviously, as you know from the color chart, one high up there. So that's always a good color choice. The text is lovely. I would probably just don't call it family constellation therapy. I just don't want to use the word therapy in this context, yeah, with the family constellation. How could you replace this? Family constellation. Well, you can just let it, you don't need to replace it. Family constellation reveals to us. If you would want another word for therapy, what could that be?
Session or just
session or practice or family constellation practice or session, or well, do I actually use a word for that? I probably avoid that. We don't want to put it into a drawer, really, a labeled box, if you will. So that's, otherwise I love the text. It's of course very comprehensive. So if that would be a Facebook post where people have time to read, great. If it's like a small little leaflet that you hand out, you might end up, too much information on too little space. So it really depends where you want to use it. Well, there is, of course, not on where to go, the address, where to go, and all of this. No contact, no email, no phone, nothing like that. So the people will not find you. There is also no name, who is the facilitator, and a photo maybe of the facilitator. So that's of course not quite working as such. It only works if you post it on Facebook under your own profile. Then it might work, yeah. But not if it's out of context. Yeah, how do you feel about that? Are you happy? Yeah.
Feels good, yeah.
Yeah, we threw this together really fast. I think that we would make it look better if we had more time. It's kind of funny, but yeah, I think it's, it's good to have these things. Like I used this, that we already had made from the last class. I used it for all my practice workshops. So it was great
Very
to
good.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really is a good starting point to set you up to start at one stage with all of this, which is great. And if you put more information about yourself and where this actually happens, these sessions, then that would make your client also more happy.
On when I use this too, Maya, which we just kind of threw it together, but I also put on it, dress comfortably and bring a bottle of water.
Dehydrated.
Yeah, I always wrote, dress comfortably and bring a bottle of water. So
sure, that's never hurt to say that.
Yeah. Because you don't want somebody showing up in a dress. They
Not
need to
really.
be able to like move around.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what the word comfortable means in English, like in America. Is that it's a dress not comfortable? Is that what you not would wear?
No, I feel like I guess you could put like yoga attire, because I feel like that's the best thing to wear, is just wear yoga clothes.
Yeah. That's probably too restricted for people who has nothing to do with yoga. They don't even know what you're talking about.
That's why I just wrote comfortably. I figured they'll figure it out. Everybody was appropriate, so
yeah.
I think they
Wear appropriate clothes. Cover your butt.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. Yes, very good. Awesome. So thank you for sharing that. We have a break now, well-deserved break, a 10-minute break, and then I see you back, and then we will work with the figurine.
Cool.
Good.
Thank you.
See you in 10. So, figurines are a really good way to replace in-person participants to resonate with the morphogenetic field. I use, and many of us use, a wooden board with built-in figurines. They are deliberately made for family constellation in Switzerland, where I'm coming from. And I show you the board in a minute. I use this when I'm traveling. It's very handy. It's small. It goes in the bag. At home, I have another setup, which I will show you, especially for the online session. However, there are lots of other figurines that you can use. I know many people use Playmobil. Do you know Playmobil? Yeah. So Playmobil, they have all sorts of figurines. Lego has all sorts of figurines. You can DIY, of course, figurines of any various sizes and shapes and colors. However, what is important with all the and I also, one of my trainees who is now certified, she uses animal figurines even. So little zebras and pigs and dogs and stuff like this. I don't know exactly. I have never seen it doing it, but it seems to work. So what is important when using figurines? First of all, make sure they have different colors, because we use colors in our work, especially in one-on-one situations. We want to gain as many information as we have from observing without representative talking. So we can already see dynamics by the colors the figurines have. For example, if you have, let's say, 6 figurines on the board and 3 of them are in the same color, let's say red, then you already see a thread there. Yeah, might be a repetitive pattern of anger or something like that. So you already have a picture. Not that you're clinging to it, but you start there, right? That's a starting point. Or when you see that that like there is the typical mother, father, and 2 children, and mother and daughter have the same color, and father and son have the same color. This is already telling you something, right? I'm not exactly what, but it is telling you. So it's a dynamic. You don't need to know immediately what's behind it, but you see that there's a connection, a dynamic. So as opposed to having figurines who don't have color, so where you don't see that. Yeah. Also by the color, when you use the spiritual color chart, then by the color you can also tell the emotions, the predominant emotion that this figurine is representing, right? So that's also important. We need different sizes in our figurines. Different sizes are showing us, especially in the child-parent relationship, if there is an imbalance in the order of precedence. Yeah. So when the child has a bigger figurine than the mother or the father, then you know immediately, aha, could be an interrupted movement towards the mother. There is an imbalance. Maybe honor and respect is missing when it is towards an ancestor. So things like that can already be told by the size that the client shows for family members. Different genders is also important. So we are working with male and female energy. We don't care about any transgender issues, because we work with only with the polarity of male and female, right? So somebody has a male or a female gender, and that's what we work with. Yeah. So we are not confused with anything of that. And when we work with a figurine board and we're working with the transgender people, of course, they are very adamant about their choice of whatever they choose. But for family constellation, this is no thing. We are not concerned with that in family constellation. However, if somebody is unhappy, if somebody is not very adamant and happy about their choices and is very rigid about this, if somebody's unhappy, then that can be an issue you could work with, right? That could be an entanglement, of course, that is making them unhappy to be in the position they are in. And always neutral figurines, they are really helpful. So you have the colorful, you have the less colorful, you have the neutral, you have different genders, you have different sizes. That is recommended. That gives you a lot more to work with, especially when you start with one-on-one sessions and the use of figurines. You also add some neutral object to your figurine. Sometimes the client doesn't want to choose a person, for something, especially when you do organization constellation, and we do systemic coaching. This is what we talk about today. We do systemic coaching a lot in one-on-one sessions, because that is more the setup where you get corporate clients. They want to look at their company, they want to look at employers, they want to look at projects. I had politicians in Germany that wanted to look at certain things in their party and things like that. So they come most likely not to a workshop. No, that's what I want to say. Most likely they want a one-on-one session. And that's brilliant if you can work with the figurines, and they might choose neutral objects for money or funds or whatever, bonds or whatever they talk about, right? So that's an important part. However, do not have too many choices. That is confusing, because you will see when you work with a certain set of figurines that they all talk to you. So you know already after you work with them for a while, when a figurine is picked, what is behind that. So if you have too many choices and not the same figurines are picked all the time, then you kind of don't have this advantage. This is also, you don't change your figurines, or it's they are becoming your companions, really. Yeah, they are your helpers. So they will actually start to talk to you a lot after a while. This is why I recommend to use the same set at all times. Additional to the figurines, you need to do is think about where you place them. Of course, you can put them on a table. Why not? But you want to look at the figurines from all sides. So that makes you and your client end up running around the table. Yeah. It is much more handier if you can move a board where the figurines are on, and you both can sit where you are and look at the figurines from all angles. And I will demonstrate that to you, how that looks like. And that I will probably do right now. Let me see what on my next chart is. Let's go through other objects first. I show you everything about the figurine board later. You can use pillows. Great. You can use pillows. There's no problem. They have different size, different colors, different shapes. You just need to know what is, gender-wise, is what is female, what is male to you, and also what is the line of sight, because we are working with directions of sight, right? Who's looking at whom? It's very important information for us. So with figurines, that's determined by their hairdo. Sometimes they even have faces. But with cushions or other objects, pillows, you need to know what is the face of it, right? Then shoes. I love to work with shoes. It was born from a necessity. When I was starting way back in time with my first workshops, of course I didn't have many people, maybe 4 or 5, and we ran out of representatives very soon. So the only thing, and I wasn't prepared for that. So the only thing that was really available for me were the shoes they took off at the door. So I brought in the shoes, and they turned out to be fantastic representatives, because they actually have a line of sight. They actually have a face, where they, so you know what's back, what's front. You can the way they are placed, where they are looking to. So it was actually excellent. So yeah, you can definitely use shoes. Kimberly.
I just did I had a practice workshop and only 2 people showed up, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And so I still did the circle. I had the big circle, and I grabbed my kids' stuffed animals and I put them in all the chairs.
Yeah.
Like they were the group, and it worked fabulously. Like it was one of the best
Great.
workshops. It was so fun too. It was really fun to work with them.
Fantastic. Yay. Yeah. No, I can totally see that. Yeah. Definitely plush toys can be a great object. I got it here. I also have worked accidentally with at a lunch table with the objects that were already placed in a restaurant. That was a situation when I went out to lunch with Sophie Hellinger, and I had some issues and we were talking about that before they served lunch, and then she just placed the pepper and the salt here and there, and then who is that and who's that, and then grabbed the glass and what, and just, and we were in no time in the middle of a constellation, which had also deep impact. No worries about that. So you can really use absolutely everything. Yeah. As long as you know which way are they looking, which size are they representing, and things like that. You can also use paper sheets with names. So in a workshop there where you have really little participants, just bring some blank A4 papers and a pen and write the family members they want to represent on them. And you can cover them or uncover them. That's whatever you fancy in this situation. And then you let the few people you have step onto the paper and represent this figurine. In a one-on-one situation, you can do the same. You can, if you prefer that and you have room, you can put the names of the family members you want to be represented and let your client go on every paper and take note what comes up, emotion, memory, thought, yeah, a sentence, or you just observe them, just the body language, like they would be normal representatives. So everything really works with the object. Okay, we have a training session now. So we will do an actual session. So one of you has the chance to actually look at an issue. It's easier than just to demonstrate something which is fake, which is really difficult in family constellation. And we normally would have an intro and a closing if it would be a client. Yeah, but we might skip that. I don't think we need that here. You know exactly what you will do as an intro or a closing. Or do you want me to do a whole session with you, demonstrate a whole session? That's up to you. Pretending you are a new client. You? Yeah? Okay. So who's the client? Hang on. Let me just share. Stop sharing. Okay. So who's the client?
Okay, let me understand. Are one of us the client?
Yeah.
Either me or Sue? Okay, I'll be the client.
Okay. Right. So welcome, Kimberly. Nice to meet you. I see you're not feeling very well, but we might can help with that as well.
Yeah.
So what brings you here to our consultation, and what do you know about family constellation?
Well, my friend told me about it and said it was really cool and I should try it. And so I thought I'd give it a shot. And yeah, I'm having some back pain right now. It's like it's under my scapula and it goes all the way up. And so every time I move, I feel a pull, like this terrible pulling me back this way, and it's painful. And so it's like a sharp pain. I keep getting sharp pains. So I would love to be able to do something about that.
Sure, absolutely. So the way we are working in a one-on-one session is we can either work with the objects, which are my preferred method is the figurines and the board, which I can share with you on the screen, or we do an internal constellation where I would like you to go with me in a relaxed state with closing your eyes, and then I would guide you through your family system where you visualize them in front of your closed eyes. So yeah,
I think I'm gonna do figurines because it's challenging for me to relax right now. So I feel like it would be more effective.
That's very, very good. I think you're right. Yeah, that would be our preferred choice. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the figurine board. And then I will explain you a little bit about that. So here it comes. Here you see the figurines. And yeah, can you see them?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, right. So as you can see, they have different sizes, different shapes, different colors.
Mhm.
They are also neutral objects. Like I have this black thing here, and then I have a couple of those things here. I have
Mhm.
also very small figurines and very tall figurines. Hmm?
All
up
kinds.
to 7 sizes. These are quite a lot of figurines. It's probably not the figurines you would start with. I started with much less figurines than that, yeah. But they just,
It's
accumulate over
fascinating
time.
too, like you don't just have them lined up. They're all over the place doing different things. So that's really interesting
Mm,
to see how they're sort of scattered.
They look like a crowd, right?
Yeah, and then do you have the 7 because of 7 generations?
Yes, I try to. I think I just counted the 6 last
Mhm.
time. I thought I had 7, but it's probably 6, yeah.
So
Hmm.
do you already know which generation each one is, or do you find
That
that
you
out in the
cannot tell just from the size of the figurine.
Mhm.
You have to see that in the ideally you would say, okay, that is the first generation, and then the next generation would be that, and then the next
Mhm.
generation would be that, and then the
Mhm.
next would be that, and then what else do we have here? Oh yeah, we have this, and then we have this. How many do we have? I think I have
They're
6,
they're
yeah.
so cute. Look how cute they are.
And the good thing is about they have not a um they have a face that's
Mhm.
determined with the hairdo, but they have no facial expression, which I find very important, because I think if you have something like Playmobil or something with a drawn face on, that is
Mhm.
very rigid. So you have a smiling face, you have a frowning face, you have a sad face. You need a lot of more figurines just for the faces, yeah.
Yeah.
Many more choices, and it's very rigid. However, in this, you can see the emotion when it comes up in their faces. So I much more prefer not to have any details drawn on their
Do
face.
do any of them look down? Like, what do you do for
Yes, they
looking down?
do, and that's very important. And this is not deliberate. That's my favorite mother, who looks
Mhm.
down, and then she looks down,
Oh.
and yeah, it's very random. They are made in by a psychiatric center in Switzerland by disabled people, mentally disabled people. So
How cool.
they are handmade, and they are all like they draw the heads, so they are all irregular.
That's
They are
very
not
cool.
made in China all the same, and I think that's important for this line of work as well. And they are made for family constellation. And I will show you tomorrow. I actually I sell these boards as well. I don't know how shipping is to US, but I definitely sell these boards because they're great. So these are our figurine, Kimberly. Now I would like you to choose representatives, and that would be, for now, one for you and one for your back pain.
Mm.
Oh, how would you call it? Or your stiff neck, or what is your actual problem?
Yeah, it's affecting my neck. It's just neck and back. It's structural issues, I guess. I don't know.
Pain. Let's
Um,
say pain.
pain. Yeah, pain.
So one for you and one for the pain.
Okay, so I like um the pink one kind of in the middle
That one?
to the yeah, her for me. And the one like straight back that's black for the pain.
That one or that one?
That one.
That one.
hmm
Okay, and we just start with these two.
Okay.
So I bring them into focus. And then you direct me the way you want to place them. You can start in any order.
Can you turn the black one facing the pink one, like turn it around so it's looking at her back? I liked it better the other way. That actually felt better.
Was it facing away?
Yeah, but keep going. Yeah, a little
All
bit
the
more.
way?
Yeah, right there. That's good. That feels right to me.
Very good.
Mhm.
And how about this figurine?
It feels right.
Okay, very good. Okay, so what we now do, we take a moment and assess the situation. And this is why I have a board that is moving, as you can see. So I move it in all directions. I can see it, of course, in the camera. You can't see the full board, but I can see it. And then I ask the client, how do you feel when you look at these?
Uncomfortable.
Hmm?
Yeah. Stuck.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now your figurine is looking down, and the black figurine, over a little bit. How can I put that into focus? She's also looking. She's looking also down with one side. Can you see that? Where is it?
Yes.
This side is more looking down. Hmm? So I would, in this context, I would say they are both looking down,
Mhm.
which already tells us there is a dynamic at play. The question is, they're not looking at in the same spot. They're just looking down. So we don't know really, are they looking at somebody dead? Somebody two different were dead, or are they just sad? Yeah. So we find out. Now I ask the client. In the virtual realm, I put my finger on them. If the client would be sitting in front of me, they would do that. I would ask them, connect with the figurine I have my finger on. Take a moment and then tell me what's coming up.
I'm just not. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. How does it feel?
Mm. Kind of like I can't see clearly. Like I'm not. I can't see clearly.
Good. Is it foggy, hazy,
Yeah, I don't.
dark?
It's not really confused, but I just can't see clearly. I'm not. I don't feel confused, but I just can't see what it is.
Does it mean your eyes are closed or open?
They feel open.
Hmm?
I guess foggy feels about right. Like foggy, like hazy, like.
Yeah. Yeah. And now I put my finger on the other figurine. Take a moment to connect and resonate with this one.
I instantly just felt like rain. Like right when you touched it, I just felt like this water coming down, but it was like,
Is it a clearing water or is it cold and uncomfortable?
um, it's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like too much.
Mm-hmm. Right. So when you said for this figurine, can't really see clearly, but the eyes are open, then there are two ways to inquire into that. The first one is to put something down here a representative, see if that has to do with that. And the other one is the fact that you are standing with the back, the black one. So we start with this here first. So choose a figurine to put there.
I like the little green one, kind of in the front.
The bright green one or that one?
The
that one?
middle one. Yep, that guy.
That one.
That's
Okay. How's that?
my back started to hurt more. Got more
Very good.
painful, more.
Very good. How's about the fogginess, the dizziness, the haziness?
It feels less.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely feels less. And then I feel more of the pain, like in my body.
Say to them, say to him, I see your pain.
I see your pain.
I feel your pain.
I feel your pain.
How's that when you say that?
It doesn't really feel true.
Good. Right. So when you look down on this figurine, what do you feel?
Well, I feel sorry for it, but it's not my own sorrow.
Ah, okay.
So,
Then say to them, just I see you.
I see you. I see you.
Mm-hmm. Now I see you.
Now I see you.
Mm-hmm. Has anything changed here?
I feel like that one wants to turn around and look at the little green one.
Hmm? This way?
And I want to move away. Like, no, out, not back, but still facing the same way. And
The
then
other way?
just like, nope. Sorry, I guess to your left. Would that be to your left? Opposite of the black thing. Yeah, that way. That's good. That's
That
good.
way? And where
That's
where
yeah,
where are you looking
that's
now?
yeah, that's good.
Just there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I want to move that one right in front of the green one.
Very good.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
That feels better.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like that makes sense. It
Say for
didn't
this,
make sense.
yeah. Say for this figurine, I feel your pain.
I feel your pain.
Does that feel true?
I see your pain.
I see your pain. Or say your pain is my pain.
Your pain is my pain. That feels true.
Mm-hmm. Say, I caused your pain.
I caused you pain? Is that?
Yeah.
I
It was
caused you
me.
pain. It was me.
I did that to you.
I did that to you.
How does that feel when you say that?
I feel like the pink one wants to turn and face the two of them.
Very good.
Yeah, like that.
Say for him, and therefore your pain is also my pain.
And therefore your pain is also my pain.
Is there movement in this black figurine? Does it want to lie down, for example,
Mhm.
like this? How's that? It's good?
That feels comfortable. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
How does this feel now?
Safe.
Good.
Mhm.
Say for this figurine, now I feel safe.
What was it?
Did you say safe?
Yes.
Now I feel safe
Now I feel safe
because we'll belong together.
because we belong together.
That's what the figurines do. But that is
I
always with a female.
So that's kind of odd though, right? Like with there's no coincidences.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah, wow.
Hmm.
Mm.
So let's see if she stays there. How's that for you?
That feels good, like they do belong together.
Good. Then say to them, now I see you belong together
Now I see you belong together
and not to me.
and not to me. That feels nice.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Send them both up. And for the green one, oh, for the green one, you say to the pink one, thank you.
Thank you.
How's that for this one?
Thank you for that one.
Hmm.
Thank you.
How's that for you?
Yeah, it feels good.
Good. Say yes.
Yes.
You want to go somewhere?
Um, I kind of want to put them somewhere. Is that bad?
Yeah, where would they go?
I don't know. I kind of feel like I want to just take them away.
Yeah, very good. She was already rolling off the board,
Yeah, I feel like I
and
just wanted to
and she
take them
actually
away.
was standing up here.
She was. She stood up. She was ready to go.
Very good. How do
Yeah,
you feel
that,
now?
that feels good.
Okay, wonderful. So we leave it here. So that was, you see, no different to a family constellation, really. You work with the same dynamics, you work with the same words, you find the same missing link. You go with this was obviously a classical entanglement with a victim perpetrator situation. We don't need to interpret too much in it. The black figurine looked like a mother, and there was a child. Yeah, looks like an abortion because she was so black, dark. In what generation we don't know, and we don't need to know, really, no. So we don't need to really find that out. And you can see how you can feel and how you can resonate with these figurines
Mhm.
and how you get this accurate, very accurate reading of something is true or not true.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny too, because the foggy thing. So dizziness, like the way this thing is hitting my neck and stuff. So dizziness is a part of it. So that was kind of
Yeah.
weird that it tapped into that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really all you need to know. You don't need, and this is why every client can represent the figurines. They just need to answer you, is it true or not true? Because you are suggesting that you don't need them to, they don't need to suggest they want to say something. No, you are the facilitator. You suggest to them what they say, and then you ask them, is it true or not true? And they will answer you. Yeah, they will barely ever say, I don't know. They would say that feels true or that feels not true. And that's all you need to know to go, to know which direction this dynamic goes. Yeah. So that was that. So we have more time. Shall we do another one? How about you, Sumin? Shall we do a constellation or organization constellation? That would be good. Is there any organization you would like to look at?
I have one. Do you have one, Kimberly?
No, it's your turn.
Oh, no, I
My
already
turn.
got to go. Yes, and thank
Okay.
you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the
Right. Well,
constellation.
we see how you go.
Yeah, I have one, Maya. Um, my previous employment, there was 2 owners, very toxic relationship. And it was the reason why I left, because there was so much toxicity. There's a part of me that knew why I had to be there, lessons that I needed to learn. But currently now I'm still in communication with one of the owners who was actually kicked out of the company a year and a half ago. And I guess I don't know if this even is a part of this, but I kind of wonder sometimes why I'm still sort of connected to him.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of organization is that? Or was
It was
that?
a
Is it still
mental health facility.
And is it still existing?
It is.
Okay, let's choose a figurine for this facility.
Let's do the white one. That's the biggest one in the front.
Yeah, that one?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then choose a figurine for this 2 owners.
Okay. The red one all the way in the back.
That one or that one?
Yes.
The big
No, the
one?
first one. And then the blue one all the way in the corner next to the yellow one.
That one?
In the back.
That
Yeah.
one? Okay. And were there other owners? Were you co-owning?
No, I was not co-owning.
Then figurine for yourself.
Gosh, I went straight to that pink one in the front.
Sure. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else we need?
No.
Now you're self-employed or are you working for another company?
Self-employed.
Okay. Right. So let's start. Bring them into more focus. And you tell me how to move the figurine.
I would be facing the facility. Straight ahead. Right in front. Yes.
Like this.
Yes. The red figure would be on one side of the facility facing the same direction.
On what side, left or right?
Left.
So I show you what left is here. I might have to swap the camera.
Oh, that's
Can
perfect. So
can you see,
yeah.
Kimberly, that there's only one left side? Yeah?
And it's a little bit behind the facility. So kind of like Catacornered. Yeah, perfect.
Mhm.
And the blue is on the other side of the facility. Also catacorner slightly behind the facility.
Like this.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So where are they looking?
They are looking at me.
All of them.
Actually, the facility, now that it's set that way, I think the facility is actually looking the opposite, the same direction that I'm looking. So turn the facility
Ah,
around.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Like this.
Yes.
Oh, hang on. I just check on the board. So they are looking exactly the same direction. And now the others, red and blue,
Perfect.
they stay
Right.
where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
very good. All right, then take a moment. Of course, now, because we turned the white one around, now the red one is on the other side of the white one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who's the red and who's the blue one then?
The red is the majority owner and the blue is the minority owner.
And with whom are you in contact?
With the minority owner, blue.
And okay, and how do you feel? I mean, what is the issue with this? Why are you still entangled with that? Is there money or involved or clients or anything?
No, I think it's more of the emotional abuse the red one is capable of creating. And what I experienced from the red one, the blue one is now experiencing.
Hmm. And the red one is a man,
They're both men,
both men.
yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what I'm interested in now, first and foremost, is where are you and the institution looking at? So choose a figurine for that.
Say that again, Maya. My mic cut out for a second.
I would like to know where they are looking at, you and the institution. So choose a figurine for that.
The white one in the middle, the more triangle one. Yeah.
Okay. Now let me paste that. Place that. So, how does that feel?
Feels okay.
How to
I feel
focus?
like I feel like my position needs to change now.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to face um the blue one.
Okay. Let's see. Over
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Same distance.
Closer. Yeah, right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How does? Oh my goodness, it's so hard to focus with this group of figurines there in the corner. So, how does that feel for you?
It feels like it's in the right position, but I'm also feeling very careful of my surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very careful. Like I just keep wanting to feel like, okay, I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm my own person still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think is? Oh, who do you think is this?
What do I think the white one is?
Mm-hmm.
My immediate thought was greed.
Mm-hmm.
Greed and tension.
Mm-hmm. You don't think that's the other client?
I didn't even think about the clients.
That's a problem in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, now side note, that is the most common issue in an unbalanced relationship in an organization, is that they are busy with themselves and forget about what they set out to do, serving sort of a client or customer.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that because the clients or customers are not represented. And even if I put them there, not telling what they are still overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell, guarantee you that, when you have an organization that's not representing the organization is, have they founded it or have they bought it?
They're founders.
Yeah. So when they are founders, you have the founders there, and then you place a figurine for the organization. Then they cannot be the founders, because they have founded it. They cannot be the directors because they already represented, right? So in this case, when they are truly representing, like, the idea of why they came together and found this, yeah. And look, the way he is looking at that cannot be anything else than the client, because the start of a business is, what can we do to serve a client? What service is needed? And that's what you see also in the colors represented here.
Mm.
But that was overlooked at the beginning, and as you said truthfully, you couldn't even see it, and even if I mentioned it, not. And that is very typical for an organization constellation. Yeah, very typical.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, as always in a constellation, we are looking for the one that is not mentioned, the missing person, the missing link. That's what we're always looking at.
Mm-hmm.
If we would be only concerned with the figurines that are on the board, we normally don't get anywhere. So what has happened when we placed this figurine, which I knew are the clients, there? You said you want to move towards the blue one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the movement already happening. No,
Mm.
you don't need to
Mm-hmm.
have an in-person representative to tell you that. You can feel that you are resonating with the field, you're resonating with the figurines, you don't even know that. And movement is taking place. So this is not happening in your mind or the mind of your client. It is an actual soul movement. Yeah, that's happening on the board, represented by the figurine. Now, because you have the colors and everything else, you can of course tell already that this figurine is very strong, emotionally bloated.
Mm-hmm.
Normally we are going towards anger with the color red. That's most of the times the emotion that is predominant.
It's very unstable.
And you can see through the movement that the clients came. So both of the owners, they are not concerned with the client,
Mm-hmm.
only with the company. But the company is nothing without the client, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Mm.
That's the other thing. So this company is not on good foundations, obviously, because it's kind of the soul and the heart of the company is not acknowledged here.
Mm-hmm.
So this person is angry here, but since you went over to the blue one, you were out of sight of the red one. So now the question is, when you connect with the red one here, is there anything coming up? An emotion, a thought, a movement?
I just want to dodge them. I don't want them to see me. Like I don't
Ah,
want them to acknowledge me at all.
right. You want to
I
hide.
will I don't know if this is helpful, Maya, but I do know the red one is very emotionally disturbed that me and the blue one are in connection.
Mhm.
Yeah, very disturbed.
Mhm.
And so I always want to just like I want nothing to do with it.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Is there movement in this red figurine? Anything?
they're just so stuck and just fuming in that
Mhm.
anger
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
disturbance. Yeah.
And how about the blue one?
I immediately felt like a boat, a stranded boat in the middle of the ocean, just sort of
Mhm.
like
Rocking.
there, but yeah, rocking back and forth.
Mhm.
No direction to move in, but just wobbling in the middle of nowhere.
And how about the figurine? Way around here. How about this figurine?
Feeling feeling sorry for the blue, but also understanding that it's what he chose to participate in.
Mhm. Right.
So no responsibility.
Mhm.
Yeah. But understanding how what they may be experiencing emotionally.
Mhm. And the blue one is also stuck, or is there movement?
Yeah, blue one stuck.
Everybody's stuck. How about the
Mhm.
customers, the clients? Let's go over to there. Oh my gosh, my arm. Here.
Stuck,
Mhm.
confused, confused.
And the organization itself.
I immediately saw, like those Jenga blocks that just fall.
Mhm.
It just like crumbled, like
Oh
just
yeah.
crumbling. Yeah.
Right. Where do you want to go? You want to say something? The blue one? How about I leave it with you?
I leave it with you.
This has nothing to do with me.
This has nothing to do with me.
What you have in common is not my business.
What you have in common is not my business.
I am too small
I am too small
to carry that.
to carry that.
How does that feel when you say it?
Complete.
Hmm,
Yeah.
very good. Any movement here? Sticking.
I want to turn around
Mm-hmm.
and actually go completely to the side, almost as though I'm not a part of the picture anymore.
Like
Yeah.
here, over here. Would you like
On the other on
on the
the
other
other side,
side?
like the blue side. Yeah, there,
No.
there. Yeah.
Um, the next question is, and that's also when you work with figurines, a very helpful representing of a state, of a change of the state they are in, on their soul movement. So I would then ask, do you want to change this figurine with another one? And then, we'd see.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, I do.
Which one would that be? Gosh, they were all falling over here.
It's the green one that's all the way in the back, Maya.
That one?
I
That
can't
one?
see if you're pointing. No, the one by the blue. Go backwards, at least in my direction. maybe forward. I don't know. All in the almost by the black background. In the
This
corner.
one?
The green. Yes, yes,
Very
yes.
good. Very good.
Yeah,
So, how does that feel?
good. Feels strong.
Yeah.
Like
Strong.
it's separate.
You have also now the same size.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And safe
I'm
for
looking,
to wherever you're looking at. Yes.
looking up at to what's next for me. I
Yes.
get to focus on me.
Exactly. Say yes.
Yeah. Yes,
That is me.
that is me.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Very good. Okay, so we leave it here. And now we go through what we have seen here and how you use organization constellation in the context of the orders of loss of Bert Hellinger. So, as I said, I'm pretty said that before. When we are constellating an organization for a client, yes, it's an organization. It's not their family. However, the circumstances we find ourselves in are always reflecting who we are in the context of our family system. Yeah.
Mhm.
So they are actually a mirror. They are mirroring and somehow some dynamics in our family system. Now here, it was for me an issue that I would normally in a family constellation would see within when the parents are in disharmony. Right? Is there anything that rings a bell, Suman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I saw here was a frustrated, angry wife
Mm-hmm.
and a caring but not caring partner,
Yes.
if you know what I mean. Is that your
Mhm.
parent?
My parents?
Yep.
Yes.
Here we go. So that's what we see. And your figurine was small, indicating to me that we are dealing with a child and parent relationship here.
Mm.
Or the reflection of it, if you will. And you are drawn into this to the side of your father through an entanglement, thinking that you can help,
Mm.
which you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, orders of precedence, what they decide to do, what they have in common, the children cannot interfere with that. Yeah. Also when they are adult, that doesn't matter if they're adult or not. They came after.
Mm-hmm.
And by being able to say that, here, the pink one, I'm too small to carry that, that was the movement that you could go away and change into your strength, into the stronger figure. Yeah.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So this is how you are starting with a client, with an organization, and you might never mention about the family, but you see and you know you are working with their family system. You're not actually working with a dead organization. Yeah. You're actually working on their family issues. And the client doesn't need to know that necessarily. They will feel it anyhow on a soul level. They will feel this relief that will also go through the family. There's no doubt about that. But they don't need necessarily to know that that is because of the constellation. Kimberly, what do you want to say?
I didn't, but you had frozen at that last part that you were explaining, so we kind of didn't catch the last few
What was I saying?
No, something about
Before that.
just the last few things about wrapping up this constellation.
We wouldn't say that that it's the family. We would
Yeah.
just allow them to, yeah.
You can if you if you are guided to do so, and if you feel confident to do so, of course you can say that, like I did now, but you don't have to. So it's not a matter of successful constellation that you say that. Yeah. The movement has been taking place. The organization, or this issue with the organization, was a representation of a family situation in some ways, and the healing step here was to honor the order of precedence. Yeah, it's really that easy, and that makes a big step towards freedom and happiness. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to other questions in regards of figurine use, organization constellation. How's your neck doing, Kimberly?
It's okay. It makes me, it just wipes me out, you know, but I guess this is, sometimes we all, well, at least I guess I do, just have to be taken out for a timeout. I should just give myself more time off, I guess, so I don't have to use it this way. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what questions do you have that you would like to discuss?
I feel
Have
good right now.
you feel good? Okay. You have seen enough of the figurines to understand what is important in the work of the figurine. Yeah, I show you. I can do that tomorrow as well, but I show you the board that is from Switzerland. I stopped sharing the screen. Hang on a sec.
I feel like just maybe even just more exposure with it, Maya. Like just positioning and more practice with it would be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just start right now. Start in your living room. Grab some objects. You know, just start. So this is the board that comes from Switzerland. It has two sides. One plain one, and one is you know, in two sides, which sometimes, so I would ask the client, if I use a board, which side they want to work on, right? And then the figurines are in the sides here. They are clipped in with a magnet. So you're opening it up carefully, like this. Oh, I have to keep it straight. Oops, two are falling out. And then you have your figurine here, the same as the I have. Oh, there was another. There are also neutral objects, as you can see. Things like that. Things like that. And then they have different sizes and different shapes. So you have female here. You have male here. And you have two sides, so you have double of the amount. And that's more than enough you need to start constellating, right? So you have, let me see, you have three sizes, I think. So that's great. You know, I wouldn't go more. I wouldn't go with more sizes than three to start with. 1, 2, 3. 3 male and 3 female sizes here, right? And I wouldn't go with more, because more is not always better. More is also more confusing. Yeah. And when you feel you need more color choices, then you just grab a bit of paint and, you know, give them a different color. Here are some neutrals, the white ones. And as always, they don't have faces. Yeah, they don't. It's very handy because you can travel with them and take your board everywhere. You just close this up, done. Magnetic.
Convenient.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's all made of solid timber, of course. Good, very good. So if we have no other further questions, then we will round it up here. And I say goodbye, and I see you in 21 hours. Let's see how your neck is, Kimberly.
I know.
You're
Feel
back.
better.
Bye. Bye.